I just take off sprinting towards the 18-wheeler, and I'm running. I thought it was water. I'm running through, and then I smell it's gas because we hit the 18-wheeler, and 18-wheelers have big gas tanks. There's gas, like a Die Hard movie, all over the ground. And then I don't know if it's true or not, but based off action movies in the 90s, if there's like a spark, that thing goes up, like a fucking like crazy. So I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. So I get through that, and then when I get to the car, this kid was, I don't know, man, probably 8, and he's in a child seat, and he's in shock. He's going, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I'm like, you're not going to die, buddy. Not going to die. But I can't get the door open, so I broke the glass through, and then I pull him through. I think we're going to look back on social media and like cell phones in like 10 years and be like, oh, I can't believe we just let this be the Wild West. Like the people that commit suicide, the depression, people have the uptick in therapists, like it's all social media, man. Because now we're comparing ourselves to everybody, and the negativity, like go on a YouTube comment on something you love, like there's no way someone's going to hate on Mozart. You go to the comment, even a Mozart or fucking like some great song, whatever song you like, go read the comments. So it's like, holy shit. And who hates on this? So it's just like, and people, a lot of people are, hurt people, hurt. That's what they do. So those people aren't happy with their lives. So they're just, whatever it is, it's triggering. Something you're doing is triggering them.
Does that freak you out for like, as a father? Because I don't have kids, I have nephews, and I think about, like, I'm a grown man. I like to think I can handle it a little differently than a developing child. A child going into that world of social media freaks me out.
Oh, awful.
It freaks me out.
Awful.
Especially now being born into it. I wasn't born into it.
Me neither.
You know what I mean? So I was more on like the cusp. I'm 89. But I at least had some taste of that world.
A normal childhood?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now it's not good. Now it's not good. I mean, I fought with my wife, like my son's birthday cake, or we're surprising him. He's coming down the stairs. She has her phone. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, who's this for? We're here, man. And like, if you go to a concert, any concert, everyone has their phones out. They're like, we're living in simulations. Like, you choose to.
Yeah.
Because let me get this straight. You're at the concert, but you're viewing it through your phone. Mm-hmm. Stay home, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, right?
Like, why? You're at the concert.
You know what's
Who are you airing? And who's like, oh, yeah, Greg's at whatever, Travis Scott. Yeah. Like, who's watching that?
Exactly.
Like, hey, can you leave it on the whole 3 hours? Like, what are you doing?
Especially, I feel like I used to take videos once, and then I realized I don't even fucking watch these. I look at my phone, I'm like, why do I have this video of a song?
You wouldn't watch it.
I don't even watch it. So
it's like people that go to zoos and take pictures of the animals. Like, hey, bitch, listen, unless it's in the wild, do not send me a picture of a rhinoceros at the zoo.
It's just depressing.
I can go there and get the picture. And also, and it's for my friends out there, if you're on vacation, don't send me a picture of Fiji. I can Google better pictures. What are you doing?
For real. But Brendan, thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Of course, man.
Yeah, it's pretty badass to have you sitting next to me. And I do want to ask, I've hounded you to try to, invite you on this podcast, and you graciously said yes. Was there anything in particular that interested you? Because I feel like usually when people have a willingness to do it, maybe there's some interest in the conversation of loss, or whether it's experience or fascination.
None of that. I'm open-minded to all topics. So obviously the title of your show, I knew it was going to be about death and stuff like that, which is I'm always down to talk about. So many people helped me out when I was coming up. So it's, I give back. That's just my thing to do. I don't know if you have one listener or 700 million. I don't know. I don't care. So many people helped me out coming up. So many people. So it's what I do, man.
Well, I appreciate that. And I've had some, people on this podcast that have been a pleasure to speak to, but someone like you, I guess I'm just interested in speaking to you.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, well, you
might be like, wow, that was a mistake.
Well, yeah, I got Liam on the audio there. You just flag it down.
All he talked about was dicks the entire time. Hey, man, it's about death.
Dead dicks.
You're like, man, I know Brendan was gay.
I guys talk about erectile dysfunction. It's kind of like a dead dick.
You're like, hey, this isn't an erectile dysfunction podcast. I'm like, oh, sorry.
A lot of my listeners are women, so, that's a good start, right? I just hope you guys are cool with that. We're talking about erectile dysfunction.
Yes, and it's a good thing I did the show because my entire audience is a real cock fest. So this is a perfect balance.
We're bringing them together. We were talking about the division in the world. We're not going to get into that. And now we're bringing it together. Right?
Yeah, I'll walk out to whatever tour date I'm on. I'll walk down and it's like, oh, it is a real cock fest out here. It is. It's like a biker rally.
There you go.
But I'm getting more women out there. There's some more coming.
What does that mean?
In the past 2 years, more women have came. By more, I mean like 1 or 2.
What is that?
I think it's definitely not me and Brian Callen's show, Fire and Kid. It's definitely not any show I do on Thick Boy. I would assume it's Theo Vaughn's fan base and Chris D'Elia's. Because
Interesting.
I've always been heavy male demo, like, dude, like 90% to 10% women. And then Theo and Chris are much more female friendly. So I think, because those guys are my brothers and we do shows together, so I would assume it's that.
Right. And it's a good transition, actually, because a lot of, I think it's like 60-40, 70-30 women to men on my show. And I'm not forcing to change that. I want to. And I think speaking to you is a perfect example that you're willing to talk about this. And, you're, what are you, like 6'4"?
6'4".
You're a man's man in many ways. So it's like the fact that you're willing to talk about this. I'm not trying to get you to cry or anything.
I probably will. I cry now. I have kids. I've always been sensitive that I have kids. I mean, I can do it on a fucking dime now.
Oh, we should work that out. We should have talked that before. It'd be like a minute 32.
I'm dead easy. Yeah.
But that's many things I want to talk about. But the fact that you have kids is, as you not being here anymore or having that conversation with them, been more prominent in your head at all that you have kids? Or are you more sensitive towards the fact that you might leave them on their own?
Yeah, I haven't thought about death that way. And it's nice how busy I am. For those of you who don't know, I do like 19,000 podcasts and then stand-up touring. So between everything I do, I haven't had time to, I can't remember last time I've had time to just like think about that stuff.
That's what
which is a blessing. Yeah, but we can talk about death and probably start a will during the show. But I need life insurance. But no, I think the way that it affects me is I'm not like a crazy risk taker, but I'll take I used to fight grown men and steal kids in my underwear for a job, so that's pretty risky. And I played football for literally since I was in 4th grade. My dad signed me up for tackle football in 4th grade. Thanks, Dad. CT in 4th grade. But I'm a risk taker in certain aspects. I ride mountain bikes all the time, and then I got into road bikes. And I always drive down to Topanga. When I used to work for Showtime, my studio was in Santa Monica. And where I live in the valley, I would take Topanga Canyon and then PCH was like the best drive ever. If you have a cool car, it's the best drive ever. And I'd always see bikers on them like that. This would be such a dope ride. So then that's what got me into road bikes. So I was road biking all the time, and I would post about it. And so people like, dude, it's so dangerous, so dangerous. I'm like, road biking? You know what I used to do for a living, dude? Wasn't worried about it. I'd see this gentleman, I didn't even know his name, Gary or something. Gary or David. And he was always, I'd do it every morning. He'd do it every morning. I'd be going down, he'd be coming up. And we'd like wave at each other. And there's always a group at the end of the Topanga Canyon before you hit PCH. And I go one day and I saw him 2 days in a row. And then we didn't say a lot. We just always wave. And I get to the bottom of that group. And I'm like, hey, where's Gary at? I'm like, oh, you didn't see him? I'm like, what? Like, he died, man. Yeah, he died yesterday. He got hit by a car. I was like, really? Like, yeah. I was super sad. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. If I didn't have a kid, I'd literally be like, damn, that's terrible. It's never happened to me. But now I have kids. I'm like, not worth the risk. I can't die on a road bike because I got these 2 little humans banking on me, you know? And like, if I did die, what a stupid way to die, you know? Out of all the things I've done, like, what a stupid way to die. So I don't do that dangerous stuff anymore. I won't jump out of planes. I don't hang out after shows, like especially in dicey cities. Like I don't go out. And if I didn't have kids, I'd be probably wild. Right. To be honest, I'd be a little more out of control.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this week's episode. I've never done therapy prior to trying out BetterHelp myself, and it only took me 33 years to try it, but they made the experience a lot easier to navigate. I'm not going to lie, I always felt a little bit nervous to go to therapy, and to do it at the comfort of my own home in sweatpants with the ability to access a vast network of therapists to find the right one for me made it a lot easier. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just need to answer a few questions about your needs and your preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist literally however you feel comfortable, whether it's on the text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who's custom-picked for you. More scheduling flexibility and a way more affordable price. We'll give you 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/deadtalks. That's betterhelp.com/deadtalks. Now back to the show.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have kids, so I only understand that perspective to like my nephews and nieces and all that shit. But it's a wild shift of perspective to think about it like that. In regards to your kids, what's your opinion on that? The 3 and 7, is that what it was?
3 and 7. Yeah.
3 and 7. Is that a conversation?
3 and 6. Son will be 7 in February. To be clear.
Got it. Okay.
No, you guys care. Everyone's like, thank you.
No, that was gonna be the difference of the description of the show. So,
you're like, God damn it.
what is that is that a conversation you've had with your kids? And I just think it's so fascinating. At what point is that? Because it's life. You know what I mean? And it's kind of a dark. It's a
little heavy for a 3 and 7-year-old. I mean, did I let my 3-year-old watch the new Dahmer show on Netflix? Yeah, I did. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, hell no. At 3, definitely not. Like, he's excited about bubbles. I'm like, you like bubbles, huh? Hey, man, let me tell you something about death, buddy.
Didn't you say did you lose your grandmother?
Recently lost my grandma on my dad's side about a month ago. And then before that, years prior, see, my son's going to be, so about 7 years ago, I lost my uncle, who's like my North Star. He's like, I'm like an alley cat version of him. And then probably 4 years before that, I lost the grandma, my mom's side grandma, who I was really close with. Yeah. But so when it comes to kids, I get like to them, like they're so innocent. I don't want to darken them yet. Like there's gonna be that talk. Like my son's starting to ask about religion and stuff. Thank God for Google, right? He's asking, he's like, Dad, what's the difference between, Jews and Catholics? I'm like, that is a great question, buddy. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to get to it after dinner. He's like, why? I'm like, just cuz. And then while he's eating, I'm like literally like researching. So I seem smart as shit. Thank God for phones though, dude, because my dad just lied. My dad was just full of shit. Like now that I'm getting older, I'm like, my dad lied so much. Yeah.
That's actually I never thought about that aspect of it. We have so much. We just look at it and not fuck up that answer being a father.
You don't have to bullshit your kids anymore.
What do you remember from the people that you lost in regards to how you handled it? You said, which one were you closest to?
I was closest to my grandma on my mom's side because, I don't know, my other grandma was super religious. We'll get to her death, and I actually was jealous that how religious she was on her, dying days. But then to answer your question, I was really close with my grandma on my mom's side. She was English, born, raised in England. Moved to the States when she was 30 years old, full-blown accent, very English. I'd drink tea with milk and sugar, super English. And she was a negative person. Now I look back and I've asked my mom this. I'm like, hey, grandma suffered from bipolar depression, right? There was I remember being 7. She's like, I just want to die. And I was like, oh, cool. It's just you and me here, man. It's like, I'm watching Leave It to Beaver, baby. It's like you're talking about death. So, I was close with her because my mom was always and now she'd be a revolutionary. She'd be, people are, you're so brave. My mom never gave into the foundations of regular schooling. And my mom's really educated, very smart person, has read all the fucking books you can name, very smart lady. And I'd fake like I was sick, and I know when my kid's faking. I know my mom. Now I have kids. I'm like, oh, they knew. I thought I was fooling everybody. My mom, I'd get sick, and she'd just drop me off at my grandma. So I spent all this time with my grandma. Thank God I did. But when she was literally on death's doorstep, there, she has 1 or 2 days. I talked to her, and I was getting ready. I was in the UFC at the time. I think I was coming off my first loss in the UFC. So I was ranked in the top 10. I went over Mirko Krokop in New Jersey, put me in the top 10. I was 9 in the world. And then they gave me Nogueira in Brazil. And I was told if I beat Nogueira, I'm going to fight Brock Lesnar. So I'm like, we're going Sizzler. I'm going to destroy this old Brazilian dude. And so I'm getting ready to fight. So I lost to Nogueira, heartbroken. First, major loss on that level, that big pay-per-view level, which is a lot to deal with. But that also, we were talking about off there, that helped me prepare for the hate that I get now. So I lose that fight. I'm heartbroken. They give me another fight, and they give me Ben Rothwell. And I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ, they weren't doing me any favors. But I was in camp for that. My grandma knew how important it was, and she'd watch all my fights. She was such a fan. She'd always tell me throw the hammer. And then my grandma, she was on death's doorstep. And then she was like, if I have a funeral, I want you to know it's okay if you don't come. Like, you missing training to beat this dude is way more important than you coming to a funeral that I'm not even going to be at. She's like, I'm not there. She's like, the family's going to give you a ton of shit. Forget all that. Let them say whatever they want to say. I'm telling you, focus on this fight. And so I didn't show up. And I have family members that still don't talk to me.
Really?
Crazy.
They know that story too, the conversation she had with you?
They do now.
And there's
nothing.
So you still sit with that?
I don't care. I literally don't care. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's fucked up. It's not that I don't care. Like, my Uncle Charlie, I was really close with. I don't hear a lot from him. Like, my mom's side is where I got my comedy from, and he was so funny. So I give him a lot of credit. But what can you do?
Yeah, it's kind of contradicting. I haven't had that experience, but when she gives you the blessing to do that, you shouldn't feel any guilt. But is there any just natural response to, like, are you cool with this?
Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I have no guilt. I mean, I lost the fight. That's what's crazy. I lost the fight. And even then, I was like, yeah, my grandma was gangster. Even then, you're talking old school London. Like,
to say that,
went through World War, II, World War I. Like, had a bunker in her backyard. If they were bombing, they'd go into as kids. Like, she's just a tough lady, man. Yeah, my grandpa tough too. So I know both of them were like, we get it, dude. Do that. Yeah,
I mean, she's seen some shit and lived through some shit where she realized I think the lesson right there is, besides her trusting you to, doing that, and she was aware you dealt with some shit with that decision. Mm-hmm. She probably saw so much death and loss in her, she realized that life goes on after that.
Hopefully.
Well,
you say after she dies.
What do you? Yeah, I'm saying, like, you being still, like, she's gone, but, like, you still got shit to handle.
Yeah, correct. She's like, this is more important. Like, these funerals suck.
And I think we've
never been to a crunk funeral. Like, none of the funerals are a blast.
What funerals?
None of them.
Oh, none of them.
All of them are boring. No. Like, when I pass, like, I tell my family, have a party, man. Do your thing.
That's what I think. It should be a different dynamic of what it's like. I don't know.
Yeah, don't play my first special. By then, hopefully, I have like 4 or 5. Don't play that first one. Okay, but maybe 2 years in. Be cool.
Maybe your first special, if you're saying it's like that, would be appropriate for a funeral.
Yeah, maybe. And we're like, well, at least we don't have to hear that.
I always think about eulogies. It makes me think, like, eulogies. Everyone speaks about so positive of the person, but I'm like, some people that die are assholes. So it's like, I've never seen a negative eulogy.
Yeah, give some truth in there.
Give some, like, hit them with,
I'd like that.
Yeah, would you want like a roast at the?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Theo selling merch out the back. He's selling like his Rat King Death merch or whatever. Chris D'Elia's selling his merch. Brian's for sure already passed.
I think that's the move. I think we just
now the Fire and Kid are in heaven.
I think we need to get the will right now. Can you guys
I doubt both of us are in heaven. Maybe one of us. Brian just recently got religious, so he's closer than me.
Recently?
Yeah, recently.
Did something happen?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
no, we can talk about it. No, he's talked about it on the show, so I feel like I'm okay to talk about it. Yeah, Brian, he had an issue with the Me Too movement, got canceled and lost, everything. He lost everything, and there's no validation to it, and it was off a tweet, and I didn't realize at the time how big of a deal it was going to be for him, and he lost everything, man, and he was in some dark places, and, Brian's 50-something years old, 55, I think, damn near 54.
Yeah, you don't look it.
I know, he looks great and has more energy than I do, God bless him, but he, all of a sudden he got religious going through that. I think he had to be honest.
Is that what that's what it takes, huh? I haven't heard someone having the best time of their life and it's like, oh, I found God while I'm sitting pretty.
Yeah, not too bad. Well, it depends. There's a balance there. Like the real rich, like, well, the only way this happens, it has to be a higher being. So praise God. Yeah. I guess.
What's
like only rich people, I always say it's only like billionaires think we're in a simulation. Only rich people go in a simulation, because go ask the lady cooking the waffle fries at Chick-fil-A with 4 kids and her back hurts and Skechers. Ask her if we're in a simulation.
What do you think should be done? Should we in hell?
No, I don't think it's hell. We're headed there with social media and the government, but I don't know what shit. If I knew, dude.
Yeah, what do you think happens?
I'm probably too busy to do the pod. Yeah. I'd be so rich if I knew.
What happens after you're talking about?
I'm just saying in general, like if it's a simulation, if I could prove that, are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah, I wonder why all those, because I feel like those rich people found something of what works, and it seems like it just operates like a mechanism, and therefore they think it's a simulation, unless they just know something.
Or they think they're too fortunate, like there's no way, like those billionaires. It's really only like billionaires say we're in a simulation. Like Elon Musk, like we're in a simulation. Like, well, you have $100 billion, dude. Yeah. So the only way that I think they can deal with that. Like, all right, I have $100 million or $100 billion. I just bought Twitter. I can buy whatever I want. And then there's kids starving in Africa. We're in a simulation.
It just doesn't seem real.
No, for them, it's a way to cope with it. And then also, even if you believe it's simulation, okay, cool. Who created the simulation? I'll wait. who created the simulation that we're in? So this is simulation and whatever. There's like tubes stuck in us and we're all in whatever, some machine. Who created that? And let's say there's aliens. Well, who created them? There's that. No matter what you believe in, and I'm not like an atheist or religious person, but there has to be some creator, right?
I mean, something and
has to be.
As this podcast goes, you know, I'm talking to all different stories, and I'm open to whether I believe it or not. Doesn't matter. Like, tell me what you think. And I've seen so many comments now when I have near-death experiences on, or someone mentions the word God. It's like everyone is so quick to dismiss whatever someone else believes if they don't believe it. It's like, we don't know.
Oh, that's the problem with society.
You don't fucking know.
No, that's the problem with society.
Like, especially when it comes to death and what happens. Like, you can have your beliefs and maybe there's some clues here and there as to why you believe
Nobody
that.
knows.
But it's like, we don't.
And you're going to argue?
You can believe it, but just believe what you want.
Yeah, it's not like a flat earth situation. I'm like, I feel like people can kind of prove that.
Yeah.
This is a different type of thing.
Yeah, that's a little more.
But that's the problem with society. It's like, and it's tribal. It's really tribal. And it, civilization has done it forever where they take care of their own. And if you're not fully in on the tribe, you're an enemy. But now it's crossed over to everything, politics, social media. So it's like, if I say there's a fight, when's this air? Is it this week? Next week?
Next week, probably.
Okay, so I don't know what the next big UFC is, but the one far out, let's say Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa, UFC, what is 284, or even bigger than that, Makachev versus Alex Volkanovski, which is the big, title fight at 155 for the pound for pound title. Let's say I pick Alex Volkanovski. The Makachev fans are gonna be furious and call me an idiot, and you don't know what you're talking about, right? So it's like, that's with anything. Politics. Just because I agree on this thing, well, that doesn't agree with what they think. So everything is wrong.
For an outcome that's not solved yet.
It's not. It's just crazy, man. Where there's no compassion. There's no like, well, I told you, you guys could be. I mean, granted, outside if you were like a Nazi or Satan worshiper, but outside that, like whatever, Jewish, I don't give any. I don't. That doesn't make you who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like you and I could be on the polar spectrum as far as politics go. I don't care. It doesn't make you a bad person.
Yeah, I mean, think about the people you already know.
Just
not to
makes
get
you
into
wrong.
politics, but like, yeah, I have people that I disagree with, but I don't define that one position or two positions as who they are as entirety.
Yeah, I don't know when politics and this stuff became personal.
I think I think it becomes personal once you identify as that idea. Or
That's
true.
right. Yeah,
it's like like, that becomes a part of you as opposed to like this idea and you, and that's separate.
Yeah.
Once it becomes emotionally attached, and it's like then it feels personal.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not good.
It's not good.
We're in a simulation.
Maybe you think that.
Yeah,
I hope
it's the only way to deal with it.
I think that'd make more sense for a simulation.
It'd be heartbreaking. Yeah, trust me. Listen, when you have kids, you're not in simulation. There's something there you can feel that it's bigger than you.
Yeah,
it's bigger than you, and like I've never met anybody in my life who I'd die for. You know what I'm saying? And to steal Ryan Reynolds' line, he's like, I thought I'd be willing to die for my wife, right? And I thought she was the most important thing. Then those two babies came in this world. I would use her body as a shield to protect those kids. And he ain't lying. My wife's great. But yeah, same thing. Use her as a shield.
Yeah, that's another level, I guess. I'm not talking about whether I want kids or not. It's a whole other fucking rabbit hole. But I can see that as a glimpse of my nephews.
It's a different animal, dude.
It's a different animal.
Different game.
In regards to, I know you just mentioned your children, but that story that I heard, if you don't mind me bringing up, that which people I'm sure that are listening have heard already, but that 18-wheeler story, I want to bring that up because obviously you saw a body in real life.
Yep.
And not to get gruesome with it, but I feel like I've never seen like an actual live at the moment happen like that besides at funerals. Mm-hmm. So what does that do with your mental and how you...
This is going to sound super, super morbid and dark, but from watching so much like murder docs, serial killer docs, like First 48, all that crazy stuff online, World Star Hip Hop, some stuff on the dark web. Once you come conditioned to it, it was almost, it's like watching an episode of American Horror Story.
It really transfers like that?
A little bit prepares you, but then it's like, it does mess you up, your psyche up a little bit. Like I was pretty messed up after that. I met friends for dinner and I still had blood on my shirt and I didn't even notice. And like the food came, like, yeah, blood on your shirt. I'm like, holy shit. And then that's when I think it hit me. And I really didn't talk the rest of the night. But I think the thing that affected me more was, I always think about my kids and like if they were in that situation. So that's what really messed me up. Because for those of you that don't know, this guy this horrible person went the opposite way on the 101 and loaded up his family, his, I think, 4 kids and his wife, and drove head on into an 18-wheeler truck. And all the kids survived and his dumbass survived, but the wife died in the front. And then they had I didn't know this. I spoke to the family afterwards. He had a horrible just rap sheet of domestic violence. Like, he was horrible to her. And this was the thing. But seeing the kids, you know, yeah, it was tough one. And the only reason I was on my way to dinner, I'm in fucking jeans and Gucci boots, man. I look like an asshole. And then I see this little kid waving cars down. It just happened right in front of us. And I was like, and it looked just like my son in a tank top. Almost identical, same age, everything. And he's on top of the car, which is badass to think about. He's waving cars down. No one's stopping. I'm like, this is nuts. And I go, I'm going to pull over. My girl's like, no, we don't know. I'm like, I'm pulling over, man. So, and my father-in-law's a CHP, and he was a cop too. So he always tells me, like, the side of the highway is the most dangerous area in the world. Don't pull over on the side of the highway, try and get off an exit. So I had that in my mind. My girl's in the car. And then I'm in my favorite car. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm going to lose my favorite car. And my girl's to be a nightmare. But it was kind of out of the way. But then I was like, for these kids, somebody has to do something. So then I just take off sprinting towards the 18-wheeler. And I'm running. I thought it was water. I'm running through, and then I smell it's gas. Because we hit the 18-wheeler, and 18-wheelers have big gas tanks. There's gas, like a Die Hard movie, all over the ground. And then I don't know if it's true or not, but based off action movies in the 90s, if there's like a spark, that thing goes up, like a fucking, like crazy. So I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. So I get through that. And then when I get to the car, that little boy's like, I go, who else is in the car? And he's like, my brother's in the car. I go, how many? He goes, 3. All right. And the door's all messed up. And then I go, okay, who else? And he's like, my mom's in the front. I'm like, all right. In my head, I'm like, I'm gonna get the mom first to help me with the kids because nobody else is around. There was one Mexican dude there didn't speak English, and because the door was dented, he couldn't open it up. But he's built like SpongeBob SquarePants, like fat body, skinny arms. He's like like trying to rip it off, and I was like, hey, move out the way. I'll take it from here. But I was like, let me get the mom because she can calm the kids down. And I was like, hey, mom, and I go to look in, and I mean, you're talking brains like fully open, like. Horrible. And I was like, oh no. And then I'm like, these poor kids. This kid was, I don't know, man, probably 8, and he's in a child seat, and he's in shock. He's going, I don't want to die. I'm like, you're not going to die, buddy. Not going to die. But I can't get the door open, so I broke the glass through, and then I pull him through. And to make myself not cry, to make a joke, he was thick. So like the glass like cut his jeans and stuff. Like he was too thick to get through the door to the glass. And I'm like, God, how old are you? He's all 8. I'm like, Jesus Christ, maybe easy on the beans and cheese burritos, buddy. So I get him out. I'm just trying to make myself laugh at this point so I don't cry on this pod. So I get him out, and then I get his brothers out. And I'm holding the one in shock. And he's like, Mama. And then he wants to go to his mom, but I grab him. I'm home like this. And I'm trying to think of things that kids are into. And it just came. I'm like, I was thinking of a movie. I'm like, you like Moana? Like, that's your shit, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what's your favorite song from Moana? And then I see a lady come, and there's one more kid left in the car. And I hand her the bigger kid, and she was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, right. And I go, again, just trying to make myself laugh.
No, it's good.
I hate to be comical on a horrible situation, but I go, there's gas everywhere. Get this kid and go that way. And she goes, no, my car's that way. I go, please trust me. Go that way. And she's Mexican too, so her English wasn't great. And I go, the kids can't see the mom. They'll never be the same. And it's not like it's not like the mom where you'd have to really look in there. Like you look in there, it's game set match for those kids. So I said, grab the kid, go that way and around. And she goes, see, and he grabs the kid, and then I get the other 2 kids out, and they go around. Then I just sprinted back to my car.
Did you hang around? You went back and you left after that?
I left after that because more people were stopped, and I kept going. Somebody called the cops, and like everyone's called the cops. Cops ran away, so I'm like, all right, that situation's done. But what was weird at the time, if I could redo anything, is I didn't know this at the time. I didn't know what was going on. I see this kind of chubbier Mexican dude run across the highway, and he jumped over the median, and he's running. He's in a wife beater, and I see him get hit by a car. Whack! And I'm like, holy shit, he's dead. In my head, I was like, he's dead. I keep attending to the kids. Then he pops up and he keeps running. I'm like, what in the fuck? What is that, Mexican RoboCop? Like, this is insane, dude. Is that the Mexican Terminator? I'm talking, it wasn't like 20 miles an hour, like beep. It was like, whack. And he goes on the top, boom, hits head on the, I'm like, he's dead.
Wait, this is on the one-on-one?
One-on-one.
Okay, there's the car that be going 60.
Well, everyone's going slow, but that car, probably taxing, listen to Justin Bieber and fucking, boom. Yeah. And then he was just like, Tyson Fury getting knocked out by Deontay Wilder was like, flatline, like the Undertaker, got up and I was like,
damn, you saw that while that's happening.
All that happened to be, so the timing, that happened while I'm running to the car. I see a guy out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, why is he running away? Boom! I was like, he's dead. I keep going. And then I look back and I see him pop up. I'm like, it's the toughest Mexican I've ever seen. And then I kept going.
Like, that's the thought process.
Yeah, I was like, that's insane. Good for him. But I didn't know that was the dad trying to kill them. So I get a call from because I go on my podcast to talk about it. Then I get a call from the cops from CHP and the police station in Woodland Hills. They, hey, we need you to come in for, to document whatever. And they go, also just to confirm the story. And they go, we're getting a lot of calls from TMZ. We just want to confirm this. And I was like, TMZ? They're like, yeah, we just need to confirm the story. And I was like, yeah, I'll come in. And I said, I want to be clear. I'm not doing, please don't tell TMZ I'm coming there. I don't do any interviews. I'm not doing this for fit. I don't want anything to do with this, man. He's like, I know we just need to confirm your story so it lines up. And he goes, because that dad who did that was saying he didn't mean to, and it was an accident. And I was like, oh, no, it's not an accident. He goes, that's why we need you on record. So I'm like, all right, I'll come down there. So I tell the same story I just told you guys. And the cops are listening. The cop has a laptop there, and they're listening. And you want to see someone? I go, yeah. I didn't know this. On the highway, there's cameras. They see everything, dude. It's like Big Brother. Dude, he goes, so he's going, he times it up, hits play, and shows, the accident, and shows my car right behind it. Boom. And he goes, that's your car? I go, that's a GT2 Porsche. He goes, yeah. There's not many of those. You go, right? And then it shows me pull over. And it's not like great HD footage, but you can fucking tell. And then you see me running, and I had a white shirt on, some skinny jeans, and Gucci boots. And he's like, that's you run? I'm like, God, I look like an asshole. And I'm running, and I'm like, that's me. And he's like, yeah, what you said is exactly what happened, man. And he goes, we have to confirm the story because TMZ and, Hollywood and all this stuff is reaching out to us. He goes, unfortunately, we have a lot of celebrities that exaggerate and lie about it. And he goes, and, then we have to deal with it. And they give out like certain details that never happen. It makes, causes us trouble.
Does that shit fuck with you in any way? Because I obviously when you
which part? The seeing the dead mom?
Kind of everything. Because and obviously I think when you tell the story you get emotional from it, which is natural. But
that kid wasn't that fat, for the record. Okay. I was just trying to make everyone not crying.
No, we need levity in this. We need levity to mix it up.
Let's just say it wasn't keto, right? Everyone got it? Kid was not keto.
Are we clear?
He was in on what the Liver King's taking. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, we all know that ended up.
Yeah.
Well, no, because like I mentioned before about, I think it's important to see you it's dope to see you open up about stuff like that. That's a big premise of the podcast. And I mentioned that men are like a smaller portion of the listeners here. And I think it's because just men we don't open up clearly as much as women.
I think that's a problem. I'm definitely not like that. If
do you talk about it? Like when you feel like something, do you keep it?
I'll talk about it. No, I'll talk about it. That I don't really talk about. I feel like I'm okay, which is weird. If I need therapy, I have no shame in that. Or if I need to talk about someone about it, I mean, I'm not going to talk to my comic buddies to create a bit out of it. But I'm good. My wife was fine. I'm okay, man. I promise. I'd reach out for help to a professional if I needed it. Yeah, I talked about it. Have you ever seen
not just that.
You don't have kids. You ever seen Shark's Tale?
I know of it.
So Shark's Tale, if you've never seen it, it's a kid's movie. Will Smith is in it. He also slapped somebody in that movie as
Legit?
a fish.
Did he actually?
He slaps another fish. Yeah. You guys just saw it
after.
Way pre. This was 8 years ago. Yeah, that movie was in hindsight.
How is that not being cut up on social media yet?
I know. Yeah, he slaps another fish, and but in that movie, the premise is there's the great white sharks are basically like the alpha males of the ocean, and then the one great white shark wants to be a dolphin. He wants to like dance and do silly shit. I'm that great white shark. I look like a great white shark, but in my DNA, I'm a dolphin. I'm gay.
So you call all golf or all golf?
Yeah, they are. They're one of the only gay mammals. Yeah, you know that?
Wait, are they all gay?
Not all of them, but
they're
high
just,
percentage, man.
Maybe they're bi.
Yeah. They get timeshares in West Hollywood. It's crazy.
You know what actually makes sense? That that if dolphins are the gayest, they're also like one of the smartest.
Right? Something to think about.
You know what I mean? Is that what we're saying?
Something to think about.
All right.
But I'm just saying, like, you say, you know, it's like taboo for guys to talk about like their feelings or whatever, like death or deal with this stuff. Or even I have a bit in my act where I go, I get a new therapist recently. And the women are clapping, and then the guys are like, gay. I'm like, that's the problem, dude. It's not gay. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
There's that stigma towards it.
So, yeah, but I think maybe by me talking about it, guys who think they're, you know, alphas or whatever, like, oh, it is kind of cool, you know? But again, I've always, since I was little, you know, I was gifted athletically and stuff like that, but I've never really identified with it.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like you said,
pronouns are they and them.
I saw it's on your Instagram now, right?
Yeah, they, them.
That's cool.
Dolphin.
You gotta do. Dolphin.
They, them, dolphin.
Or DOL.
Yeah. They're like, what is DOL? It's my right, goddammit. If I only called it male dolphin, you call me a male dolphin.
Well, so, because like you said, people, I think if you're an alpha male and you're just keeping that shit in, it's going to come out in many other fucked up ways.
Oh, yeah. That's where they lash out. That's where the hate online comes from.
What about in your world with comedians? Because my opinion is, like, I cope with humor. I'm not a stand-up comic by any means. And I think humor has been a good part of my coping mechanism. But I see stand-up comedies, usually their shit comes from dark places, no? Would you say that? Or is it not everywhere? Not everywhere?
I think so. It's not everywhere. I mean, I think you have to have some sort of chip on your shoulder. And, you know, I've always felt like an outcast. So I think comics, a lot of them are outcasts. As far as the darkness, you're going to have some darkness. I have some darkness. But, you know, I think there's that misconception where it's like, oh, everyone had bad childhoods and, you know, this and drug addicts. And it's like, you know, musicians too, like every musician's into heroin.
Right,
it's like,
not the case.
There's really famous ones that had issues. For the most part, the comics, like the big comics you guys know, like Bill Burr, Segura, Rogan, dude, their work ethics would put freaking LeBron James to shame. You know, it's like those guys don't have any fucking problems. Now, in their childhood, I'm sure, you know, everyone has trauma. You know, even the rich kid in the penthouse in Beverly Hills has trauma to him. That's his perspective. So everyone has trauma.
Right.
But this idea that every comic's dark and it comes from, you know, a very dark place. Yeah, for some that works, but a lot of them are just normal dudes who are very gifted and funny.
Yeah, actually, I always thought it feels like what I see is a form of expression. So I wonder if it's just literally just where it comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think I'm a super opinionated person. So it's like, you know, on stage, that's the one place where you're not going to get in trouble. Because when the audience buys a ticket, they agree that none of this is serious. You're here to laugh by any means necessary. So whether it's left, right, woke, whatever it is, transgender, gay, straight, it doesn't matter. You bought the ticket and you have agreed verbally that this shouldn't offend you. These are jokes. And it's the one place where, you know, you can get away with it. Because you can't get away with it on YouTube, can't get away with it on social media, can't get away with it on the news. But in stand-up comedy, that's the one place we've all agreed that you can't come for this. In this lane, you cannot come for us.
Right.
And they still try to come, but it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it's never going to stop. My shoes keep sticking together with the Velcro.
Oh, the Velcro?
You hear that, right?
The Dion's, dude, old school.
I'm not going to lift my feet up for the camera.
Those are great.
I'm kind of taking it back a little bit when you story about your grandmother that you lost with that fight. Do you remember what afterwards? Because I want to keep it on theme in regards to, like, do you remember a process of dealing with it, or you just truck on?
No, I struck on.
Yeah, did you ever?
I think what helps me is even back then, I wasn't as busy as I am now, but I was fighting. So it was like, and I lost that fight. So I was trying to figure out my camp, and I moved to California, and it was like a new thing. So it was like, I was so busy, I could put that to the side, and I knew she was cool with the choice. So it was just like, cool, man. It's also, you know, it's what old people do. They die.
So is it more the fact that you had that conversation with her prior, thinking she was cool, so you didn't feel like you had like a process to work through?
I think I would have been like that no matter what. Yeah. Like I'm a guy, and I'm trying to instill this in my kids, and my father did this with me. It's especially in sports, but it translates to everything in life. Is like, you know, if you throw an interception, you're not dwelling on it. You're not thinking about that. It's on to the next play, man. Yeah. So in life, it's like, I've had some tough breaks, man, and I don't dwell on it at all. Yeah, or people come for me, you know, people talk shit or whatever and try and create drama on the podcast and social media. I will think about that for literally 5 minutes and I move on. It's such a gift, and I don't know how it happened. I'm trying to figure out so I can pass it down to my son. Like, he'll make a mistake, and his mom's different. His mom hasn't had the experience I've had, and she has OCD. So when it's messy, she'll get upset, man. It will affect her mood for a little bit, and then she's working on it, and she'll get over it, and she works hard at that. Dude, my kid could key my Porsche on accident, and I'm like, dang, are you kidding me, dude? Literally, when we get in the car, it's over. I'm like, cool, man. We're still going to Starbucks. You're still getting your stupid cake pop,
Yeah, that's interesting because I feel like me personally, like when I have certain things go on, like I'm been going through some shit that I feel like I'm getting frustrated myself because I thought I'm usually that person.
Like what, dude? I can't be the only one that opens up.
I mean, I'm going through like relationship shit, but other than that, it's like my
long-term girlfriend.
Yeah, but we don't,
you don't touch. You don't get too personal.
That's too fresh right now for me to do.
Oh,
right
gotcha.
Now. My point is, I feel like I let that shit linger. As opposed to just, and like I either had the decision of whether it's grief, loss, relationship, or whatever it is. If you're just going through something that's emotionally affecting you, it's like you can distract yourself, whether it's with work, this or that, and that might kind of cover it up. But
you have to deal with it at some point. It'll rear its head.
But unless you're doing what you're doing, you're able to just let that shit go. Like
I threw an interception, I'm moving on. Even when I was single, dating, it was like if they didn't like me, I wasn't like, oh, I'm so ugly or whatever. It's like, all right, not a match to the interception.
I mean, it's the closer mentality.
Man-to-man defense through an interception.
I mean, it's like everything's literally easier said than done, but there are so many people that don't have that ability where they're just stuffing that shit away.
Oh, man, I wish I could come on here and tell you guys
what's the
5
sauce?
easy steps to primal living. Buy my protein powder. I'm not on steroids, right? I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to tell you. My dad did it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's it. Maybe it's nurture. Maybe it's the shit you've gone through where you've just done that so many times. It could just be a perspective.
Could be that.
As simple as that.
Yeah, but also you got to remember too, fighting, like there's no the valleys and the peaks in fighting, there's nothing like in sports. Because in basketball, if you lose a game, how many games they play? You get to prove yourself the next game, or maybe you had a good game, but your team still lost in the finals. All good, and then you go to practice, you have another season. Football, same thing, what is it now? 18 games, so college football, whatever. And remember, I played high-level college football, had a cappuccino in the NFL. Like, I've had my heart broken a ton of times, man.
That's it.
But if you dwell on it, that's it, man. The run's over. So for me, it was like always keep going. What's next? What's next? What's next? And in fighting, man, those valleys are low, dude.
I mean, how long you training for one fight?
Especially back then, they have more of a science now where guys are doing like 6 to 8 week camps. So we do like 12-week camps, 3 months for one moment. And then when you get knocked out in your underwear on pay-per-view in front of millions of people, like those valleys are fucking dark.
Yeah, I'm not here to determine how you operate, but I mean, experientially, you're going through some shit that made you have to not forget it, but kind of like, okay, address it,
accept
acknowledge it,
and then move on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to define your career, and you're never going to win.
Yeah.
But then I've been like that since a kid, though. Which helped me for this stuff.
All right, so what we're saying is we have no answer for anyone listening.
I wish I could help more people. Like, all right, well, give us the. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
No. I mean,
maybe I'm a sociopath.
I think if anything, you're the one person.
Yeah, maybe I just don't care. Yeah. Maybe I don't care about anything.
They have to give you that test.
Yeah.
I think, but at the same time, regardless if you don't have an answer to do, I think it shows that you can do it. You know what I mean? So if you're going through some shit like that, it's like I don't have a fucking answer. I don't know. I don't know, but I think you got to go through it and just however you handle it, you got to handle it that way and just understand that however you feel doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
and you're not the only one feeling that way. Like there's
for sure.
a ton of people out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think everyone just handles it their own way. So, I guess if you do come up with an answer after the podcast, just let me know.
Yeah, be like breaking news. Yeah, and you post on Instagram.
We'll post that down.
You figured it out.
But before I listen, I appreciate you, hopping on here, like you said, of offering some. Your name on here does help in many ways. So I do appreciate that. And once again, someone like you being willing to talk about something like that will help someone else being willing to talk about that.
Hopefully, my man.
No, for sure. That's guaranteed. So I want to thank you for being on here. Is there anything you want to plug or I know you got your own shit that you plug.
I mean, I'm not even on tour right now. I don't start touring again until January. I'm still waiting for it to be finalized, but I should be headed up to Canada. I have some dates on there now for next year, but right now I'm just doing spots around LA and focused on the family and chilling, man.
Dope, man. Well, congrats to everything and everything you've done. And thank you again. Another episode of Dead Talks, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time. Later.
Do you sign off and go, stay dead?
Yeah. Wait, is this still recording? Because I'm going to have to say that now.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and stay dead. Everyone's like, oh, that makes sense.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Talks. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell. That'll give you updates as to when we post a new video, more episodes, and more content in general. We are streaming on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and all that. And also find us on Instagram at Dead Talks Podcast or www.deadtalks.net. Thank you so much.